Hi, it's Dorothy Gunning with Scrapbooking Quebec. Welcome to video 3 in my 5-part mini-series, Power Scrapping with my Flower Emporium FOMO kit. In this series, I'm sharing a fun and fast, streamlined approach to creating with collections. This can be done with whatever collection you want. I'm using Vicki Boutin's 49 and Market Flower Emporium collection with stash. It's a collection I put together on YouTube that I affectionately refer to as my FOMO kit, Fear of Missing Out kit. The power scrapping approach is basically batch scrapping. In video 1, I did the prep work batch style for all 5 double page spreads, separating material into page kits with photos and drawing sketches. The prep work is essential for power scrapping, and I will link up that video below. Now I'm assembling pages batch style, and with so many decisions having already been made during the prep work, these pages are coming together super quickly. Today I'm going to be doing the second layout process video in this series. It's the complementary page to the layout I created last week on YouTube. So let's get started. This is page pack number 4 from the prep work video, and I just showed you the page that I created on YouTube. So that is basically the focal point page for this double page spread. I'm showing you it's the sketch that's on the left. Today I'm going to be creating the complementary page, which is the sketch that's on the right. I'm showing you that I matted 8 wallet size photos in advance. So here are the papers. Most of them are from Vicki Boutin's Flower Emporium collection. That polka dot paper is from a past Vicki Boutin collection, and the ledger paper is from a past 49 and Market collection. I have a bunch of embellishments here. Again, all what I used on the layout in the video that I created last week, including that stamp set. But I'm going to talk all about these embellishments later on in the process when I embellish my page. What I want to do first is create my foundation page. So I'm going to cut up a bunch of paper here. On the sketch for the complementary page, there is a wide border at the top of the page and at the bottom of the page, and that is going to house 8 wallet size photos. Each one of these borders is made up of 2 strips of paper, and I will put measurements for all of this on the screen a little bit later in the process. You can see I'm inking up all of the page parts with Morning Mist ink from VersaFina CLAIR. Off camera, I adhered the craft paper to the pink paper, and now what you see me doing is adhering these borders to the top and the bottom of the page. So according to my sketch, and I definitely follow it, I am going to be adhering those photos in the top and bottom borders. That area in the middle, I'm going to reserve that for my embellishments along with a small title and a bit of journaling. What I want to do right now is adhere my photos within these borders. So I'm just playing around a bit with the order of the photos. These are photos of a walking tour in Tournus, France. So it's just a bunch of random photos. You can see Chester has come to visit. So I'm having a little bit of difficulty now because he definitely wants attention, but he doesn't stay too long. So don't worry about that. What I'm going to do right now is start adhering, and I want to show you how I adhere a row of photos. I am starting on the far left, so the far end of the row. I adhere that, and I make sure I'm happy with the margins all around at the bottom, on the side, and at the top. Once I'm satisfied there, then I jump to the other end. In this case, it's the far right, and I do the very same thing with the photo, respecting the very same distance for the margins. Once that's down, then I am simply going to position the 2 photos in the middle, more or less eyeballing it, making sure that the margins between the photos look equal. Again, I'm eyeballing it, but that's how I approach adhering a row of photos. I will do the very same thing to the top row, but I'm not going to make you watch all of it. So I'm just fussing at the bottom here, starting at the top, and now I'm back. So everything is adhered. I'm happy with that. Having a quick peek at my sketch, and now what I want to do is show you all of my embellishments. So in last week's video, I kind of narrowed down my selection from this huge ephemera pack from the Flower Emporium collection. So I have what's left over there of flowers and leaves and trays. Same thing for those hearts. The other pink ephemera pieces were from a past 49 and Market collection. I have the rest of my title, which came from these alphas. They're stickers from the Maggie Holmes Forever Fields collection. It's just day 9. It's just a compliment to the title I already put on my layout last week. And I also have tags, which are from a cut apart sheet from this 49 and Market Flower Emporium collection. In addition, I have from Flower Emporium some laser cut elements and some stickers. For this page, I don't end up using them. I did last week on the layout I created. So what I'm going to do, according to my sketch, I'm just going to kind of build up a cluster over on the far right of this page. Now at this point, I bring in the original page. I have it on the left, following the sketch. But at one point you're going to see as I'm building the cluster, I'm fearing that there's a big open space there. That border that you see in the middle is starting to look like trapped space to me. Even though I look at it on the screen and it looks fine, that's what I'm thinking when I create the page. So at one point, after I tuck in this tag, you're going to see I switch up the order of my pages, and my left page is moved to the right, and that's what I end up doing with the page. I end up switching up the order. Now when I do this power scrapping approach, and I do it in batch style, selecting material and photos for all of my layouts, the same thing. I create my sketches in batch style. I do it quickly. The whole point is to do it quickly. And when I do that, I always give myself full liberty to change things up. Now, basically, I am following the sketch, and the only thing I really change up is the order of my pages. But when I do power scrapping, I often do that. So having made the decision that I'm happy with the order of the pages now by switching them, now what I'm doing is finishing up the embellishments on this complimentary page. Now on the original page, I did some stamping with this Elements of Text stamp set from Stampin' Up. You can see I have little templates here. Those are basically stamped images on scrap paper that I keep in my stamp box. They are background stamps, and I use them all the time to play around with the positioning of my stamp before actually stamping on my page. I used them last week when I created my page as well. So I used those templates, decided on 2 spots for stamping, and you can see I'm stamping splatters in 2 different spots. I'm using 2 different splatter stamps, so I'm happy with that. Now that the stamping is done, what I'm going to do is start adhering my embellishment. So basically what I have here are 3 floral pieces from that ephemera pack. One of them is like a floral cluster. And I didn't mention it earlier, but one of the leaf ephemera pieces, I actually trimmed it. So I cut it and made it into 2 ephemera pieces because I found that most of the leaves were being hidden under a flower. So I thought, what the heck, I might as well cut it and use it elsewhere in my cluster. Now you can see I'm tucking in my tag. For this one, I'm using the layers there, so I'm tucking it between the pink paper and the craft paper. I really like the positioning of my stamping here. I like how the stamping above that white flower kind of fills in that trapped space there. And the same thing over to the left of the tag. I just like that hint of the splatter there. I think it just adds a little something to the cluster. So I'm happy with that. You can see that for my title, Day 9, I decided to adhere it right on top of the flowers. At one point, I thought about adhering it over to the left of the tag, but I preferred to keep my cluster a little bit more tighter, and that way I was leaving the cluster on the right-hand page to be bigger. I like to create clusters in 2 different sizes. Now, speaking of clusters, now what you see me doing is tweaking my page. And I mentioned that in the video I did last week when I create one page, then the complementary page, I often have to go back to the original page and tweak it. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. You can see I took a yellow flower, a pink flower, and a little bit of leaves, and I tucked it just above those tags on the original page. And I like how that creates a subtle visual triangle across the two pages. Now, I didn't see that last week until I created the page today. And in creating the page today, those two yellow flowers stood out to me, and I felt like I needed a yellow flower in a third spot. So that's what you saw me adhering there. And you may also have noticed I also did a little bit of stamping above that little extra cluster that I just added to the original page. Now I'm just having a look here. You can see that I did my journaling on the tag on the left-hand page. I also obviously switched up the order of my pages from the original sketch that I showed you. And again, I often do that when I power scrap. Also last week, I had that polka dot paper out and I thought I may add it as a frame to the page I created last week, the focal point page. But in the end, I decided not to. I didn't want to trim down that ledger paper because I was worried I would make it off balance. There's little numbers along the side and I had done some stamping and it's simple, but I like it as is. So I just left it as is. So basically that's it for video 3 in my 5-part mini series, Power Scrapping with my Flower Emporium FOMO kit. You can expect 2 more videos in this series, a double page layout process video and a layout share for all 5 double page spreads. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Scrapbooking Quebec, I would be thrilled if you did. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very, very much. Have a great day, and I will see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.